As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History.
Well, as we count down to America's 250th birthday next summer, we are sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. That includes the books and the authors, too, Charlie.
Yes, it does.
I'm excited about this one.
And the groups that worship them.
Yeah.
On this day, December 16th, back in 1775, English novelist Jane Austen was born in Hampshire, England. That would make her 250th birthday today. Austen is probably best known for her novel Pride and Prejudice. She grew up as one of 8 children and was closest to her only sister, Cassandra, who served as Jane's editor. Jane was a very big reader from a young age and started writing stories at 12 years old. The author has continued to be very popular long after her death in 1817. Pride and Prejudice has sold over 20 million copies and been brought to life in several film adaptations. There is a Wisconsin region of the Jane Austen Society of North America that celebrates Austen's life's work. The group already held a 250th birthday ball for the late author last week and is also holding a celebration later today in Whitefish Bay. That's This Day in History for December 16th.
Yeah, lots of bookstores having displays set up for Jane Austen as well. Leopold's on Regent Street is doing a fun little tea party for Jane Austen.
And Tea Party Day today.
Yeah, very fitting.
Yes.
Yeah. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, a great book.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I've never read it.
Oh, I'll get you the Cliff Notes, Charlie.
Oh, okay, good.